course to 5 minutes, and I am. There's going to be a very loud alarm at the end of the 5 minutes that will continue until you stop talking. Okay. So yes, we're in a new room thanks to the U of M Law School Entrepreneurship Clinic for allowing us to use this room. There's going to be 5 companies talking today. And I'm going to hand it off to Ginkgotree, and I will thank the rest of our sponsors and stuff in between. So, is your microphone good?
Yeah, everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry for the delay, lots of technical problems, but anyway, my name is Scott. I'm with Ginkgotree. We're a bootstrap 4-person ed tech startup in Ann Arbor. And we want professors to be able to divorce the textbook. What I mean by that is we've done about 6 months of product market research, and what we found is that there's this dichotomy between old school textbooks, literally old school as in like paper textbooks. I'm not talking about e-textbooks yet. And a lot of new and cool educational media found online, things like Khan Academy and Nomia, open source textbooks. It's a new and upcoming thing if you've heard of that yet. And professors have been rolling their own solution in developing course packs for quite some time. Some ways that we found professors doing this is they're actually making WordPress blogs and treating them as a textbook so that they can bring in all these online resources and have them in a centralized location. Most professors I know honestly just post links to Blackboard or Moodle. That's probably a situation most of you are very familiar with. But there's still a problem with this in that how do you marry the content and all the course material in the textbook with the stuff, all the cool stuff online? Because the fact is for the majority, if not all courses, you really do need both of them. And that's what we've developed. So we've got a web app here that can do this, and I'm going to go ahead and just show this to you. Well, maybe I'll just keep holding this microphone. So this is our web app running here. It's not launched yet. We're about 2 weeks away from that. But I'll log in with my instructor account here. Yep, there we go. So I'm using someone else's laptop to do this. Okay, so if I log in here, I can make course packs. So if you're not familiar, a course pack is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a collection of course materials. Now the cool thing is we can actually take course materials from textbooks and from the internet and marry them together. And in addition, we can even deal with legal issues like copyright. So I made a sample course pack just for a general chemistry class. I'm actually my undergraduate degree is in chemistry, so I've got a bit of favoritism there. So I'll open this up, and you'll see there's different sections here, just like in a traditional textbook. You can compare those to chapters in a textbook. And these various assets here. Now let's say I want to add an asset or new course material in my class that I want to teach with. I can click this plus button and choose what I want to add. So you'll notice there's some traditional things like image and video and sound. These all work with filepicker.io. They're a new Y Combinator-backed startup from 2012, I believe. So you can add an image or video from YouTube. The images and sound, you can get them from your own computer or from any of these sources online. But what's really cool is, let's say you want to add something like a book. So some professors may actually have digital textbooks on hand, an EPUB file or a PDF, and they may have permission to distribute those, or they may have journal articles that they want to distribute, or a site license with their university. But what happens if I actually want, like, say 8 pages out of this textbook and 2 out here and 3 out here? Well, what I can do is I can add a textbook. Just search for like Richard Feynman. So let's say I want to add this book. Well, here we go. I can add it for 18 cents a page. So how do you actually get the book into this course pack app? Well, what we do is you actually generate a shipping link with a drop in the mail. We'll actually scan it in for you and make a digital file and upload it for you automatically. And then you can distribute it to as many students as you want. Now, the way this works for pricing is it's free to instructors. We charge $10 a month for the students. So it comes out to about $30 a term. And then they also pay any additional copyright fees on top of that. So a traditional student, and that's also $10 a month for an unlimited number of courses. So even if you're taking 3 or 4 courses in this, it's still $10 a month. And most professors we've talked to end up using maybe anywhere from $0 to $20 worth of copyrighted materials. So what we find is, instead of students paying $600 per semester for textbooks, they likely end up paying more like a fifth or a sixth of that through this system. And they only be buying the materials that they need to use. And in the future, we have all sorts of cool directions we want to go with this, such as adding in a personal learning network and shared notes and things like that, and also student metrics. But we're launching this MVP, and we're waiting to do that until we get enough user feedback from an initial user base to make sure we take that in the right direction. So I think that's all I have to say. And any questions? Yeah.
Do your scan pages?
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Oh, use the microphone when you ask.
Oh, yeah.
Push this to a power button. There's a little button here.
Oh, geez, the microphone's right on the desk?
Yeah.
Do your scanned images get OCR?
We're working on that in the future. The company that we partnered with to do that has OCR technology. I'm not sure if we're launching with that right away. I think there's a good chance we will be able to. If we do that, we want to make sure we do it correctly and we have like something like a 99.99% accuracy, so that they don't get PDFs and everything's all jarred up. But the scanned images do come in extremely high quality. It's done by basically a robot, and you can hardly even tell where they're going to scan in, assuming the book is in good condition. Now, of course, like I said before, if you do have a digital version of the book, you can add that too. It's just what we found is most professors don't have that. They have an old textbook, sometimes even a classic text or a certain translation of something for humanities course laying on their bookshelf, and they don't know how to get it on the internet, and that's what this does. Any other questions? Mm-hmm.
So what are your future barriers to entry to keep larger size competitors from duplicating your model and pushing you out, such as like a book publisher or something?
Well, the thing is book publishers, I think, are still trying to focus on turning the same profits they have been turning on textbooks, and I don't see them going towards customization like we are. The fact is that the whole tech world really is moving towards customization. Everything you see around us is, everything from 3D printing to social media to mobile, everything is about customization. And we don't see Pearson or larger textbook publishers being able to keep up with that, or wanting to change their business model and frankly making less of a profit than they are now. So most professors we talk to want to use older books, not even textbooks, but actual books, not textbooks. And that's why the copyright fees are so low, 10 to 15 cents a page. But the fact is textbooks typically cost $200 or more. So as far as keeping larger people like that, that's really what we see happening. And we actually did, in a previous pivot, we actually tried working with publishers, and that's exactly basically what we heard from them. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
What's your marketing plans here on trying to get noticed and build the business?
Marketing, well, the cool thing is because we're bootstrapped, we have an extremely low overhead. So we really don't need that many account signups to break even. The way we're bootstrapped right now is by taking contract work and developing a few things like this with about 10% of our time. So as far as marketing, we've been reaching out to high-profile educational bloggers, stuff that has highly targeted audiences. Rather than trying to go off after big media, we see that there's a lot more value in making the connections we already have. So when we launch, we'll have some high-profile placements on blogs and news websites that the exact type of professors are looking for, frequent for new information from startups. So we're finding these relationships are pretty easy to build when we approach people in the press that are very open to talking to us, especially when we tell them we're bootstrapped. For whatever reason, there seems to be an aversion to funded ed tech startups. I don't really know why, honestly, but that's the approach we're taking now. I think eventually we'll evolve that into something more complex, but yeah.
Does this site integrate with the C tools and Blackboard, or is it a replacement for it?
So you're talking about like, does it integrate with like an LMS system? We don't want to integrate with an LMS system like Blackboard. We actually like to replace it eventually. And we see that being done with just very simple metrics and very simple personal learning network with simple communication built in. I think Blackboard is taking a route of just extreme complexity and sort of just spraying a shotgun everywhere and not really having a laser focus. So rather than integrating, I think people are going to want one platform that does the LMS stuff, and that's what we plan on taking this next year after we refine this model. So.
Is there a way for students to interact with the content, say like highlighting or taking notes in the margins, or would they have to just print out the pages?
No, actually, is that time up for questions?
Yeah,
All right, I'll answer this one. No, actually, that is going to happen in version 1. We don't have that built yet. We're launching this in 2 stages. First, we're launching the stage. This is what professors would see to start building in course packs in a couple weeks here. We're hoping to get people on board for the spring semester, and then before the students need to start using it for this upcoming spring semester, we'll have sort of the Twitter style like social note-taking feature built in. So now, the whole idea is to transition off printed paper. There won't be any need for that. So, all right, thanks for your time.
All right. Next up is Michael Frye with Savvy Languages. And while he thinks, I want to thank some of our other sponsors. A2Geeks, notably, is the 501c3 that sort of organizes all these events around. I guess if there's any announcements for like local geek events, we can. Is there anyone or non-geek events? Chris, push the button. Right. Hold the button.
So on Wednesday, October 3rd, Zach Steinler and I have been working for a few weeks to organize with CFE and a few other groups a mixer for students and the community to get together and get to know each other, because there's a lot of students that have their own clubs and things that don't know about what we do here in the community, and there's a lot of people in the community who might want to reach out to students in various ways. So it's not a recruiting event, but it's going to be a time for people if you're affiliated with like MakerWorks or something, or if you have like Coffee House Coders or any of the other types of things that we do as a community, where everyone can go up and speak for like 2 minutes as just a quick, here's what we do, no slides or anything, and then there'll be pizza and mingling afterwards. Probably hosted at TechR, but we're waiting confirmation of that, and I'll be sending an email to A2Geeks later.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I was going to display a nice timer, but I'm just going to go like this because my web browser is not working right now.
All right, cool.
Go ahead. 5 minutes.
All right. My name is Michael Frye, and I'm a co-founder of Savvy Languages. So Savvy was born from our own frustrations in learning languages. Learning language programs currently, they have rigid lesson plans where you're forced to learn words that may not apply to your life. You're learning words that you may never use, so you're just wasting time. They're boring, expensive, and just generally ineffective. The real spark for me came when I was living in Los Angeles, and I met a lot of people that were struggling to learn English. And I met one guy in particular, Gustavo, who was a master's degree in accounting, and he was a professional in Guatemala. The guy moved to Los Angeles doing zero English, and was forced to get a job as a valet. He was professional, and he was being stuck as a valet. So I thought it was going to be a better way to be teaching languages, something more affordable, something more effective. So at that point, the mission became to develop a program utilizing cutting-edge technology, high production quality media that was fun, entertaining, more affordable, widely accessible, and just plain effective. That you could learn and make sure that you memorize what was learned. So I set out to develop like the best team, the best people. And currently the team is myself, Terry, our CTO, Hannah, our curriculum director, and Sean, our CFO, who couldn't make it here tonight. Our current academic advisors include 2 linguistic professors from the university here, and also a professor from Open University specializing in artificial intelligence. My current partners include a graduate student from MIT specializing in unification for language learning programs. And we're also partnered with Parliament Studios over in Boston, who's one of the top media production companies. So we put together really the best people and really the best partners to really pull this off. So SEMI is a browser-based web application. So it's widely accessible and lays the foundations for a mobile application. So it's built using the latest front-end web technologies, and it's designed to be a truly immersive language learning experience. So it's designed with a full-screen view so you fully feel immersed in the environment and utilizing interactive elements to feel like you're actually there. This is a dialogue template to show that you're actually interacting with the person. It has full Facebook integration, so it's actually utilizing your Facebook profile picture and your profile name directly into the dialogue. So you actually know when to talk, when to turn the speech, and we make the whole thing just fun, entertaining, and effective. As far as Facebook integration too, it makes it real easy for logging in and for creating accounts. So we feel like we can build a user base pretty quickly. So the program is also designed with literally the best speech recognition on the market. We looked far and wide to find literally the best speech recognition. And actually the software we're working with is literally like years ahead of anything else currently in the market. Like better than any other program that currently exists. We feel that integrating speech recognition with scenes like this can feel like you're actually there, actually interacting with real people to really simulate real life. We're designing the entire program to be like a game. So as you progress through the program, you're earning points, you're getting achievements. So it's really the incentive there to be fun, to be entertaining, and to be wide learning, to make it a game, make it fun. The back-end system is designed to be a customized curriculum where all the lessons are short modules, short chunks of information. So as you enter the program, we can design custom lesson plans specific to your needs. So based on your demographic, based upon your learning goals. So we're designing a custom lesson plan just for you. This is an example of an augmented photo where it's really immersing yourself into a given scenario. You can explore a scenario and really hover over different things. I felt like it was a really great way to just kind of like a digital augmented reality almost. So this is a level 1 of augmented reality. Level 2 of our technology we'll have is full 360 views, where we'll have full integration of being able to browse around something, integrate with different stuff. And level 3 is 360 video. So we'll be able to have the ability to feel like you're actually there. Incorporating the most advanced speech recognition out there, we feel this would be the ultimate learning languages. The best thing about this, you're wondering how much it's going to cost, the entire thing is free. There is no price. That was the goal.
Good timing. So I'm going to start with the question out then, because someone always has to ask this one. If it's free, how are you going to make money?
Yes, how is it free? It is free. We developed a very innovative business model. That's probably the coolest part about this entire thing, is that we're creating a program that's not only most technologically advanced, but free. How we make it free is using the freemium model, with tiered memberships and some strategic partnerships that I haven't mentioned that we're really, the coolest part is that, yes, it's free. And at the same time, we're generating profits to both make investors happy, obviously, to make profit, and also to grow the business and scale. So really, it's the ultimate solution. We feel we've developed an elegant solution to solve a worldwide problem. Yes?
Will it run on an iPad?
Yes.
So through Safari, through the browser?
Yes, our first version we're focusing for the beta to be developed for the browser, but lays the foundation to easily develop for mobile applications, the iPad, your phone, for everything. Yes.
How do you verify correctness of the speech?
The correctness of speech
Yeah.
with speech recognition, or
That's a part of it, but how are you verifying that the student is properly pronouncing?
yeah, that's really, we have a variety of ways. Really, speech recognition is the core of that. The speech recognition we're using is that most models nowadays, they literally tell you only if you're incorrect, you're correct. I've literally used every program on the market, and there are some software that I've used where I'll be yelling something totally opposite across the room, and it'll say that I said something right. So it's just not effective. What we're using is literally the most advanced stuff. And not only tells you, doesn't just say if you're correct or incorrect, it'll tell you how close you are. And actually will analyze down to the individual sounds within words. So if you're having problems with the R sound, if you're having problems with the TH sound, we can specify certain lessons directly for you, create a custom lesson plan so that you're learning speech recognition is designed for you.
Did you develop the speech recognition software?
No, we're working with another company who developed it for us, but we'll be one of the only groups to actually have it working. Yes?
Yeah, how do you stack up with something like Duolingo, what they're doing?
Yes, Duolingo is actually one of the hottest language programs out there right now. Duolingo really is a great website, but I think one of the biggest problems that they have is that they really focus on text. They really focus on making sure people translate stuff. So they teach you grammar really heavy. They really have a focus on drilling you in translating sentences and just writing and typing. You lose the immersive feel of the media. We feel that we can trump them by offering a more immersive product. It's also free. But utilizing stuff like the 360 movies, the 360 integrations, really the full screen view, it's a highly visual, immersive experience. And Duolingo, really, you can't do that because their business model is focused on translation. Yes?
Thank you. Are you seeing this as people would come and find it and do it, or are you seeing this as through language classes, it would then be an extension of the language class? Am I going to be needing to know the language and I'm going to find this? Or how are you going to get out there?
Yes, I think the question you have is this a supplement to an existing kind of curriculum like in a classroom, or is this a comprehensive solution to learn language?
Or both.
Yes.
Yeah, please, thanks.
The browser-based, really the main version of it will be a comprehensive solution to learn language. So anybody can come from anywhere. And it's digital online, so you'll be able to access it from anywhere in the world and learn any language anywhere at any time. The mobile version on the phone that we'll be focusing on will be a native app, and that will be more of a supplement because it's more difficult to have the full screen versions and really the high technology on the phone version. So yes, it'll be a comprehensive solution to learn language from scratch, and the mobile version will be a supplement. Yes?
Are you building in any interaction or peer-to-peer competition type things into the game model at all?
Yes, we will have full social capabilities as well. That is, we're aiming for that to be the initial release, but we're not sure 100% if, at the basic, we'll have like blog interactions. We'll be able to have a user profile and comment back and forth and be able to meet new people. But we're looking for eventually for version 2 to have full video capabilities and be able to play games with people socially like that. So yeah, we'll have full social interactivity to go on and meet new people, meet new friends, practice really the language that you're learning.
Cool, thanks.
Yes, thank you. If you have any more questions, you can find us afterwards.
Well, he's going to set up a couple more sponsors to thank. Saffron Baker, the law firm that has helped me own other startups with startup meetings. So check them out if you're in the need for Rectory, which is sort of on the other side of the Broadway Bridge from Plymouth Road, or from downtown on Plymouth Road, has a 4:30 beer thing every Friday called Beer 30. So if you're interested in startups and hanging out with startup people, you can show up there and drink beer if you're 21.
You don't check.
So I would like to introduce, I'm going to butcher this, Azarias Reda. All right, from Meritful.
Thanks, everybody. We're Meritful. We're the professional network for high school students and their mentors. I'm very excited, delighted to have our turn to talk at A2Newtech. I'm Azarias, and my partner John Cunningham. He's an MBA out of Ross and has worked on a number of startups. I did my PhD in computer science at Yale and previously worked at Microsoft and LinkedIn prior to Meritful. So the problem we're trying to solve with Meritful is actually pretty simple. Teens are online, teenagers are online en masse. They're spending a lot of time on the web. And they're generating a whole bunch of content, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Except a lot of this content tends to be unprofessional, or at least does not reflect very well on them in the future or their future careers. So a bunch of unwitting, perhaps unflattering stuff. And this really is not good because an increasing number of admissions counselors and most definitely employers are trying to see what students are doing online as they make important decisions. So it's really important to have a good presence on the web. Let me see if this video works. So I'm going to show you a very short clip from The Onion. I hope most of you know it. I'm going to take about a minute. And they did a segment that was pretty spot on. See if it works.
Welcome back to the War for the White House bunker. A troubling new report from the Shuttleworth Institute shows that due to Facebook, every potential candidate for the 2040 presidential race is now completely unelectable.
We're looking at really a political crisis. This is an alarming new study. Take a look at one of the candidates that the study points out. This is Trevor Kaufman. He's out of Houston, Texas. High school class president. He has 10 hours a week volunteering. Got a full scholarship to Duke University.
It sounds like leadership potential.
Take a look at his Facebook photo album. You can see him smoking marijuana out of a prostate case.
That will definitely come back to haunt your restaurant.
It keeps getting better. You look at the rest of it on our blog, and this is where Meritful comes in. Meritful is a professional network for high school students. It's a place for students to document and share their accomplishments, their projects, their activities, and get feedback from a professional network of their peers and their teachers. So what we're trying to do is give students a formal, polished presence on the web using the class projects and activities that they're already doing. And for teachers, it's really a great way to run class projects. It gives your students opportunity to present themselves in a very polished manner and share the results with their classroom and their school at large. In fact, what we do is collect and aggregate the best stuff that's happening in each school, the leading students and the best projects, and put it on a school page that a teacher or a counselor or an administrator can look at and be able to see what's going on at the school. So really, that's it. That's what we're trying to do. Give students the professional experience in the web, much like what LinkedIn does for the adults, but build around things that really matter in high school and body. Just quickly about our business model. Every year, colleges spend billions of dollars trying to convince students to come to their university, and especially in the non-top 50 or 100 schools that admit about 80% of students. We think we can give them a platform where they can segment and target a lot of students and engage with high school students in a very efficient manner and a lot of brands and services that are that lend themselves to the professional context in which we're working will apply there. So we actually launched it yesterday for a public beta, which you can check out at meritful.com. If you have, would like to talk to you, if you have any, please email us at hi@meritful.com, and we're gonna quickly run through a demo in 30 seconds or less.
30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, so here's the homepage. So we can log in as either students or as a mentor. The key features here are the citation allows for sharing, feedback, and discovery. So here's the homepage. Now, if you come in as a student, as a typical student, they can give some information about themselves, and they can also basically post. Okay? So, 4 seconds. That's it. So, thanks.
So how does this alleviate what I think we're trying to do is create an environment where they can separate their maybe less than professional activities with their more professional activities. But how does this stop the investigation phase to see that this guy's smoking pot and we don't want to have pot smoking in his work?
So I always say we cannot unshare your association, but we at least can create a narrative that perhaps helps you. So, you know, if somebody's going to Google you, I think it helps to have a place that sort of documents the stuff that reflects well on you, while there might be other stuff. I think it's also a great way to sort of elevate the standards that people also start to recognize the value of building an online presence that reflects well on you. When you Google my name drops, you know, top 2 or 3 results is going to be my LinkedIn network. We want that to happen in a similar manner. You know, the first 2 or 3 hits are going to be really good things about you. So that's how we see this work out.
How do you compete with LinkedIn? Because for every high school student, I assume if they can use Meritful, they can also use LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has more advantage because there's continuation. So after you graduate, you can keep using that for your undergrad. And you have your whole package right there. But this Meritful, it seems like after I graduate from high school, it's kind of useless to the student.
I disagree because we're thinking a lot about the transition, but let me tell you why right now it is, you know, barring the fact that LinkedIn is not even open to teenagers. We think that the experiences that define high schoolers are not work experiences or job experiences, which are highlighted when you make a form. So we're giving students a lot of tools to sort of describe the things that really matter, things like projects and activities, while at the same time opening an avenue for mentorship. I think that's very core to what Meritful does, where you can not only present stuff, but interact around the things that you're working on. I think that's what really applies to high schools at this moment. In terms of it being useless afterwards, what we're thinking about is maybe it makes sense to transition students to link APIs that you can transition into LinkedIn or other similar services that cater to a more professional setting. But I think there are a number of ways to look at it. But right now, mentorship and a more rich description of what you're doing, I think will be fine.
Could you just, maybe it was going to be in the demo that got cut off, but the mentorship part of it, I don't know that we got a clear view of what was happening with the mentorship part of it.
All right, so basically students have full control on who they can interact with. So the way this happens is, in a classroom, for example, as a teacher has some project going on, students are able to add a particular teacher or counselor as mentors. They're able to share sort of information with them. So mentors can do 2 things on the site. One is provide feedback on particular projects and interact on those, and this makes sense if you're in a classroom running projects. But we imagine a lot of other interesting mentors as well who probably don't have a lot of time for one-on-one interaction, but can share information to their mentees. So maybe this is just an article, maybe a video, maybe what have you. So we imagine this one-directional, rather loose way of describing what a mentor-mentee relationship is, and we're going to hold that as we see feedback.
Can you talk about your monetization or business model?
So right now the key model we have is working with universities and colleges because they're spending a lot of money trying to attract the right set of students. folks with the right skill sets, interests, and aspirations. Especially important in this gray zone where a lot of people have similar sets of scores. We are giving institutions an insight into what students are really about. So we're going to have mechanisms to segment and target high school students based on a number of intangibles and be able to have direct marketing, which is where we see a lot of our initial revenue coming from.
Do you have any information regarding how many teens are actually looking for mentors out there?
Not necessarily mentors. There are about 15 million high school students in the U.S. About 3 million of them every year go to college. So those are the people who are trying to display themselves or who are trying to have a better presence on the web or will at least benefit from such a presence. Those are the people who are going after.
So how are you, clearly the benefits for teachers and for recruiting and everything are clear. What's your indication that students are actually going to embrace this, or that your users are going to think this is cool?
I think outside of the perhaps the 10 or 5% of students who are really motivated and working on it, I think the way to do it is creating the demand for it, which is why we're working with a lot of the school system teachers as well as admissions officials to create a demand for something like this, so that it would actually directly help you, which is I think the first wave of doing this until it becomes the de facto location where you display stuff.
Hey, anyone else have any more announcements? Sure, another thing.
Push a button. Push a button.
Hold button.
I'm Ed Carlson. I'm here representing the Great Lakes Entrepreneurs Quest. That's a business plan competition held twice a year. The fall business plan competition is currently open, taking applications. That closes, the application process closes on October 15th. So if you'd like information, I have some brochures and some cards over here. Cash awards are given in the new business idea category, which is typically students or new entrepreneurs. They also have an emerging company category where if you're already an existing company but you have a new idea that you'd like to grow, you can be part of the business plan competition there as well. So an example of a cash award for the new business idea, first place is $5,000, or it was last year. Second place, $2,500, and third place was $1,000. The second place winner, just to give you an idea of what might be a business plan idea, was advertising marketing on toilet paper last year. And the young man got $2,500 for that. So use your imagination. Thank you.
All right, thanks. This is Andrew Koper from the Trip Metrics.
I'm Andrew Koper, and thank you for having me at the A2Newtech Mondays. I'm here to present on Metrics.org. I often describe myself as a cyber entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur. I live in Detroit. I moved there after I graduated college. And one of the things that particularly interests me is the intersection of the internet and how to apply the power of the internet to solve social problems and make the world better. In particular, Detroit's more famous for its social issues and crime, or schools. And so I've spent some time thinking about that and working on that. And I thought that one of the problems is that the government is responsible for providing these public goods. And I think a lot of people, I see neighbors on the street and parks that are overgrown with grass. And there's a lot of resources. The city of Detroit government, I've been in work here, I've drawn a generalization of Detroit, is in fact has an organization with 12,000 employees and $3.1 billion budget. And so this represents, generally speaking, the city of Detroit government. And like all, it's allocated with the police department and the fire department and health department, but as all, it's a concern about social structure. And I think this is where a lot of the errors come in, where people, the worker bees do all the work, they're like all organizations at the bottom of the chart, and then people at the top have, there's a lot of inertia to not rock the boat, because there's just more compensation you get promoted into management and things like that. So to get away from that subjectivity, I thought that I've gathered certain quality of life metrics and created DetroitMetrics.org, and this is a 3-tier web application where a database stores things. There's a business logic layer in PHP, and then a lot of JavaScript on the front end. So this is Google Charts API to gather data, and I picked some important quality of life metrics and graph them in a dynamic control panel-like way to show, in fact, how leaders are doing with all these resources, show the outcomes of their decisions, and make them make better decisions, give them the data for citizens to see who they vote for, and give them data to do process engineering. So this, I specifically tried to, I hacked Google's Charts API to show, again, kind of that people do make a difference in subjectivity of it. This is a line graph hack to show who the mayor is. There's a tooltip here, who's in city council. And again, create a kind of control panel of what, the outcomes of decisions people are making. Short city budget bouncing around $3 billion a year, 3.1. While the state's GDP rose as the country's generally does in our numbers and data. By doing this, this is Detroit's numbers after this year's decline, after years of this world famous decline. You've got the population on the left, about 770,000 people, the GDP of Detroit. I had trouble getting the state exactly, but I'll estimate it to be about $65 billion. But I'm going to show the next chart of 4 places: Detroit, Michigan's GDP, about 10 million residents, GDP of about $400 billion, according to USDA. United States, 311 million residents, a GDP of $15 trillion, and then the world has about 7 billion people in it, and a GDP of about $70 trillion. And once the elected leaders start making those numbers grow up for the city government, and quality of life returns to the rest of the place, government makes about 30% of the economy, and the private sector, in fact, creates about the other 70% of the economy. And so some of this wealth comes into Detroit. More college students in Michigan move to Detroit when they graduate. Other retailers in the country build stores and start building stores in Detroit where they get left out. They go to immigrants in other parts of the world coming into Detroit. So then you have poverty solved, you have a tax base increase, there's urbanization, and kind of an end to these social problems. That's Detroit metrics. Any questions? Yes.
What's your business model?
I kind of had a strategic decision to make when I was doing this, and I decided, I had developed this on my own, made a lot of programs on my own time, and I'm this nice guy. I was trying to do something to make the city better on goodwill, and I did try to meet with the mayor's office. I did questions several times to meet with some things I wanted to show to the mayor, and I would get it and go, yeah, this is my boss. This is what I deploy those resources for. And but I was never able to really get that meeting and make that connection. So the code is written, and there are 19,000 municipalities in America. So I guess now I have a decision to just kind of sit there and kind of give up, move on to something else, or maybe try and turn this into a business and get some other cities, maybe more rational, more meritocratic, more progressive cities to buy it as a business. But I didn't clearly set out to make it a business initially. Yes, sorry.
Did you focus on a particular problem at first? Did you say, okay, because you talked about decision making, and I think what you're trying to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're trying to see the result of the decisions that are made and how financially it affected the whomever. Is that?
Yeah, I think a lot of city government operations kind of take place in the dark. You can go to city council meetings and there are certain kinds of public records that generally, but in Ann Arbor might be a more meritocratic place. In Detroit, I think there's more kind of cronyism and favoritism and things like that. So, again, going back to that kind of org chart slide, I think, in all organizations, they just, you have a ton of resources. You can give out millions of dollars of contracts and give high-paying jobs to your friends. And so I don't think all these human resources and financial resources and time are optimally allocated, and this is to show the results. How many potholes did we pave? How many truants were caught? How many fires were put out? And to make those numbers go up, given all these resources.
If I can follow up, maybe in your presentation, maybe you could focus on one particular area and show the parallelism of what you're trying to accomplish. Right here, it's a little bit challenging to see that. I think the heart's in the right place, and probably the data is there. It's difficult to come across. And so I think the people at the top, actually the people all throughout, need a little bit more spoon feeding, and that would probably help your story. So.
Is it primarily census data, or is this data that you've kind of gone through papers and things and picked out manually?
Good question. I think every organization should have a mission statement of the private or nonprofit about what they do, and then some metrics to show how well they're doing it. And I went to the Census Department. I went to, for my metrics, the Bureau of Economic Analysis, crime stuff, the FBI's Uniform Crime Report. Ideally, these different departments in the city, fire department, education, health and human services, would have APIs. They would, as they did their work, they would collect this data. They would have their own API. This is a JavaScript that both hits my server and goes out to Google server and for the graphing program. And this would call those APIs to get those lower level, maybe some more granular, detailed statistics from the individual departments themselves.
I work in Detroit, and I think this is pretty awesome. Have you worked or heard of working with Code for America? They do civic projects, apps, building apps for government-related work.
Sure, I sure have. I've met them when they had their kickoff, and this is that kind of thing. I think they recognize in Silicon Valley a lot of governments and local governments are behind the times in terms of they don't have the competition to make them adapt new things and use technology to do things faster and cheaper, more accurately. So we're there. I know that Hannibal, and we just made a bus, finding the local bus, finding a response via text, via cell phone, and app. And I think that this is maybe historically important because it does directly affect 3/4 of a million people's lives and millions of dollars, and then indirectly millions of people's lives and tens of millions of dollars. So thank you.
This is a reminder, if you are asking questions, please push and hold the button on your microphone thing. Otherwise, it doesn't get recorded and on the internet. Okay, we have one last presenter. While he's getting set up, I guess I have one last announcement. We usually, a bunch of people end up going out to Pizza House afterwards.
Or Dominic's.
Dominic's? Mm-hmm. It's cold out.
They have inside.
Oh, we're going to, do we have a reservation?
No.
Anyone else is going to practice over there?
Pizza House is good.
Okay. Yeah, let's, sorry. Yeah, crap.
Give me 30 seconds.
Do you know how to turn this thing back on?
Yeah. The little dude isn't working anymore. Anyhow, oh, the audio went out. Hello. Hello. Whoa. Hey. Pizza House. Executive decision. Alright, this is Bill O'Reilly and talk about AncesStory.
Thank you. Good to go. We're here about our family history service. I'll start by saying no relation to Bill O'Reilly at Fox TV. I'm pleased to say that. And unfortunately, no relation to O'Reilly Auto Parts. Not that I know yet, I'm going to keep digging. With me is my wife, Peggy Lane O'Reilly, and this is something that we started, I'm not exaggerating this, between the two of us, we've been working on family histories for 50 years. And in the last year, we've become a full-time operation and started AncesStory. So we are a startup, and despite what you might think, we are high-tech. This is 100% technology-based, maybe 99%. We offer our services to clients throughout the world. And our background is, as I said, we've been doing this for 50 years. We have tons of experience helping our own family members and friends, and decided to make go of this, and it's really hit off and running. I will say from the get-go that we're not, like some of the other presenters might have been, we're not looking for investors, we're not looking for capital. We've already turned a profit. What we're here about is to explain our services, get your feedback, and maybe pick up a client or two. Keep that out of the way. In addition to our experience, we've also taken numerous courses. We are certified, and there are additional certifications that we're working on that are industry recognized. We've done a lot of homework on this, and feel that we've got things off to a good start. So we're going to turn the page here. So what we are is internet-based family history service. You've heard of AncesStory. We are not just facts and figures. We're not a searchable database. Clients come to us asking us to help them with their problems. Typically, we have two types of clients. One is somebody who knows virtually nothing about family history and looking for us to build a family tree. We end up providing that to them in a variety of formats. An example is our next slide here. This is actually my own family tree. Proud to say my roots in Ann Arbor go back almost 200 years. This is just one of many generations. My family tree is about a mile wide and a yard deep. Because I'm entirely Irish and Scot, there's a limit of how far we can go back. I'm back to the 1700s. Becky, on the other hand, I'm not making this up, we're back 40 generations, well over 1,000 years on certain branches. She is the 38th great-granddaughter of Charlemagne, second cousin, 7 times removed from George Washington, and other notorious people. But on the other hand, on one side, one branch of your family, we're only back to your great-great-grandfather. So it's hit or miss. But we have really been pleasantly surprised with how things are going. The second type of client we have is somebody who in the industry is called a brick wall, and we know that well. That's when you have a certain range or numerous branches where you can only get back so far. The very top person is my great-grandfather, James O'Reilly. His father, Andrew O'Reilly, Andrew O'Reilly and Richard O'Reilly came over from Ireland in the early 1400s to Canada, and I can't get past it. That's my brick wall. Becky here will cover a little bit more about how we do things.
Most of our research is done online. We do offer on-site services as well at libraries, courthouses, cemeteries. We spend a lot of time in cemeteries. But most of it's done online. And we also, most of our clients contact us through our website, and then we communicate through Skype or email. So it's very definitely a technology-driven business. We do our research, and then we pull together reports for our clients in a variety of formats. Could be family trees, kinship reports, and we also give them copies of all the source documents that we've uncovered in our research. These are provided either electronically or hard copy if they want them. As far as our startup, initially our costs were not that much as far as upgrading our computer systems, going to multiple monitors. The majority of our investment was time researching and assessing different online sites.
Thank you. Becky, I just want to touch on some of the documentation we provided. Our previous speaker talked about census data. We live by census data. We go back all the census data. Becky in particular is one of the folks who led the effort of just documenting the 1940 census data. And we'll leave it there. Open for Q&A.
You guys ever have clients that are not just curious about something, but maybe there's issues with inheritance or something like that, where you're trying to trace something for legal issues or something like that?
Not so much legal, but one of the probably the most interesting client we have is a fellow named Frye, who all his roots go back to England. Everything's all over England, and I've been working with him for a couple of months. We have a really good rapport. He texted me one night, or sent me an email one night. We were at a restaurant, it was 9 o'clock at night, and I said, "Hi, shouldn't you be sleeping?" And he said, "What are you talking about? It's 2 in the afternoon here." He's in Australia. Anyway, he moved to Australia, and he's trying to find things about his land, his family land back in England. And we're waiting on him now for some additional details about that. So we do get that sort of thing.
Sorry, client who's trying to get into a particular cemetery.
Yeah, just literally today, we had a client reach out to us who, there's a family plot down in Texas that he and his immediate family members would like to be buried in. But to be buried in that family plot, you have to show direct lineage to the ancestor who set that up in the early 1800s. And so that's something a little different for us. But there's others. We get, we've had a number of people who suddenly want to find out if they're Native American. And it's hit or miss with that because, for one thing, on the census data, it doesn't ask that. If you're going back and looking at an 1880 census, it asks white or black, but it doesn't ask for the Native Americans. But that's something that's coming up.
Interesting. Thanks.
Yes.
Do you do any DNA ancestry?
We don't, but we have a number of services or options that people can go to. I've done it myself personally. I found it very interesting. If you didn't know this already, there are a number of leaders, in fact, I think most folks in the field. All of our roots can be traced back to everybody here. Can be traced back to one small village in Africa. But the DNA I did was very, really some neat stuff. Came from National Geographic, actually, and showed migration pattern of my ancestors, and they all moved to Ireland.
Do you use Ancestry.com as a resource?
Oh, yes, but one of many. We have subscriptions for perhaps half a dozen different services. A little warning in terms of Ancestry, it's not a knock at Ancestry, it's the users. A lot of people have family trees posted there. You wouldn't believe how many we find to be inaccurate or just made up. I think people are trying to connect themselves to other branches or famous people or whatever, and if you look at the details, it's fabricated.
Follow-up to is, give me an idea of typical cost to do a search.
It varies. Actually, I think that most people look at all. Frankly, everybody works with something very reasonable. We have packages like a family tree, basic family tree package is $175. That includes 6 hours of our research time and full documentation sent to you electronically. Other packages give you more hours, or would also include printed copies of that. As Becky indicated, we provide a lot of the documentation that we find, and there's a lot of it out there. Research time, probably the thing that makes the most sense, we have a block of hours for $140 or $33 an hour. Yes.
How about family crests?
Yes, we actually include those with the reports that we provide. As Becky indicated, we go beyond just the facts and figures. A lot of the stories. We also, if we can find it, we include there's a lot of information on family origins. You know, not just your own, but the Smith family or the Jones family history. Yes.
Yours had some nice images. Were those just your own family?
Yes, and we incorporate those for anyone who can provide them. Keep in mind, a lot of your ancestors didn't have Facebook, so there aren't pictures. There are pictures out there of them, but if you come across them or you provide them, we'll incorporate them and you did and you saw them. Yes.
Have you done this for some popular people? Seems like it'd be a good way to get some media.
We actually, Becky did one. You want to talk about the Silent Louisa? It wasn't actually, she had one reached out to us, and he was trying to prove that he was related to a Silent Louisa. It's not Mary for somebody quite that famous, but some of the old timers may have heard of this lady, but for confidentiality sake, we won't say the name. But anyway, Becky, it was an interesting thing. We thought at first, gee, how we can do this, but went back and things looked interesting, but what Becky found was particularly interesting. You could Wikipedia or you could Google her whole filmography, and back in the silent movie days, they were making 10, 15 films a day, or I'm sorry, a year for these popular started. And at the time this person's ancestor was born, the illegitimate child, she had suddenly taken a leave to England for 10 months. She didn't make any movies for about a year. And I'm sorry, I'm missing an additional piece. Anyway, as we put all the pieces together, it's like, yeah, we don't have, short of the DNA test, we can't prove it, but yeah, all the facts add up. This guy's grandmother was really this silent movie star.
Yeah, this is where DNA would come in handy for DNA testing.
Thank you.
So thanks again to the Law School of Entrepreneurial Clinic for letting us use this space. Do you have something you want to say?
Yeah. Another messages in that kind of general request. The university is looking for a C++, Java, J2 coder for a project we can pay. So if anyone wants a consulting gig, let us know or let me know.
Yeah, any other announcements before we?
Yeah, the Detroit Design Festival starts tomorrow and goes all the way till Sunday. Lots of activity in the city of Detroit. All the creative community is going to be involved. It's a good time to go down and see Detroit and help support Detroit.
Cool. All right, don't forget, go to Pizza House. Hopefully they will let us in.